Welcome, everybody. Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here on a little chilly Thursday night as we're getting into the fall time of the year, and the shows are heating up here, folks. We recently had a very successful expo, Justin, at the Brockton VA Hospital.
Yeah, that's what I heard,
Jenny,
yeah.
you missed it. It was great.
I know,
It really,
yes,
really
I'm
worked
sorry.
out well.
Being indoors.
Indoors, because they had the gymnasium, which was filled, but then they have this network of corridors that connects all 37 buildings at the hospital. So they got miles of corridors, so they just put tables everywhere, and there must have been 100 tables, maybe more. A lot of veterans, lot of veterans showed up.
No, I heard. I unfortunately I couldn't make that, but I heard it was very good. They had a good turnout for the weather. I mean, the weather was bad, but everybody seemed to come out.
Well, and I walked around with my eye blotter, and I have now 3 months of solid shows booked.
There we go.
You know, next week is going to be.
I think I
love it. He needs a calendar.
The
like
eye
that.
block.
I
Yeah.
took his calendar.
Next week, Volunteers of America.
There you go.
That's a huge volunteer group, one of the largest in the nation. Week after that is going to be the new representative, the new Red Cross guy that I met Saturday. He's Wolfie's. Not like Wolfie. No, no. He's a
human being.
No.
And he really he loves being a counselor. He loves being a counselor. He loves working with the vets, and I think he's going to do real well. Week after that is return to Michael J. Fox Foundation and Parkinson's. Then the 26th is Ray Milano, SBA night.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one. We're going to be featuring, Paul, veteran business owners and interviewing them
Excellent.
on the show,
Fantastic.
and then having the rest of the story on our website so that they can go to find out about veterans' careers or discounts or practices or just whatever they might be. So yeah, I filled it up. Veterans Legal Services, Harvard. Harvard's coming in a couple of months to do their gig here. So
You did some good networking.
I was
huh?
sure it was.
See, should have been there.
It was great. It was really a good time, and but here we are tonight, and a new member of the panel here tonight, Paul Gilbert. Paul, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. This is great. I know that Jenny does this with you guys all the time, and as I said, I got into this because of my own loss with a great friend and decorated veteran, a Marine guy who was proud of his service, and that's what propelled me into this business.
And what business? What are you? Who are you about? Why are you here?
Well, you know all about Jenny. So
Yeah.
Jenny runs my coalition, the Plymouth County Suicide Prevention Coalition, that I started 9.5 years ago, and it's still going strong because of her and a couple others. And we did it because we needed education, and
And this is a personal mission for you.
yeah, it was a personal mission when it started. Absolutely. I mean,
that mission was
I love
because?
it. Because I lost a good friend to suicide, and since then I lost a father to suicide, and it's just something that, just like Jenny with personal loss, we got into it, and as we grew, the coalition over the last 10 years, we really took an interest in the veterans because of the high rates of suicide with
Sure.
veterans,
Yep.
and we wanted to be part of it and help them. We started, originally with Chuck Delaney and some of the other people in the Bedford VAs
Yep.
that were really, really doing the groundwork of helping. And I've seen such an incredible change in the 15 years or so that I've been doing this, and especially in the last I'd say 5 to 7 years of how the VAs have stepped up.
Change for the positive?
Oh, positive. I mean, and
Yep.
all the people that I know that have served, whether it's family, friends, or friends of a friend, it doesn't matter because we have resources now, like you guys, and we have this voice here, and we've been really able to connect people with services and jobs and just different ways to take care of your mental health. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride. As I was explaining before we got on the air, I was lucky enough to travel overseas and work on the bases, working with families, all around the world. And just really, it's become such a passion for both Jenny and I and all of us in this world of suicide prevention. And I think it's so important. And it's not just about suicide, it's mental health in general, that, is...
Loneliness is a killer.
Oh, yes. And we need education. We need people to keep talking about it. Open up those doors, have that awkward conversation, and let people feel comfortable when they're struggling to talk to somebody. And I know it's still not 100%, but we will keep doing what we're doing till the day I die to help all of society, not just veterans, but we're working with the school systems. We work with the colleges in the area, but our veteran community has been near and dear to us, and I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of people. And
It's a shame, Paul. We've had so many veterans come in and sit here and just talking because they're here for whatever reason, but to a person, they will say that although they did 3 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, they've lost more members to suicide than they did
In the war.
on deployment.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
And we had a kid, Adam DeChico. Great kid. Wonderful.
Yep.
It couldn't have been. He was here just 6 months ago, and I don't know. I'm amazed at this whole problem. And a while ago, Paul, I had a meltdown here on the show because on that week there was the problem with the guy killed his wife and in Cohasset, and then there was the poor lady that took the lives of her 3 kids. But then I had 2 suicides in Hingham, 2 veteran suicides, and I was pissed. Hingham. I'm in Hingham every day. How did I miss these 2 31-year-old Marines? Why? I mean, Hingham's a viable community. Keith Germans is a spectacular VSO. Keith?
I graduated high school with Keith. I'm from Hingham, and we hear all of this stuff on the news, but we don't hear about these kids that are struggling. Why don't we hear about it? Why isn't there a network of people that are reaching out to everyone that comes off of deployment, or not even just they're lost in reacclimating to society? So, I've met with Keith, and he's been in a couple of our trainings. And why isn't there more outreach to these struggling young men?
Because they won't allow it. They won't allow it. Jenny's there. Justin's there. I'm there. You're there. They just don't reach out. They don't self-identify. The last thing they want to do is say, I have a problem.
Right.
They don't even want to say when they're feeling good and let us give you some more benefits. Never mind, gee, I could use a little bit of help. Could somebody talk to me?
But so the problem is the education and who's telling them from a young age that it's not okay to reach out. It's the same reason we lose more police officers, to suicide than we do in the line of duty in the United States every year. What is the education and what is the message that our society sends that if you're struggling, you cannot reach out because of the bravado of the military or the bravado of the police, fire, EMT, whatever it is, all our first responders.
They're used to being caretakers.
They are, I know.
And all of a sudden now, they don't know how to spin the bottle around a little bit and, let somebody help them for a change. They're so busy helping everybody else.
That's right. What we really, the message is that for our veterans, or so for our military in general, is when you have recruits coming in, let's give them the education from the start. Let's change the culture. We talk about culture all the time in mental health. Let's change the culture so that when they're entering, they're getting education. They're talking to their superiors about what mental health is. It's going to be a struggle because it's a struggle, whether you're in the military or not. It's a struggle for everybody in society and families and everybody that has issues and things that torment them, or that whether it's a family member, a friend, or whatever it might be. That
There's a lot of troublesome times.
Yeah, so why
It's
when we
right
talk,
now
but why,
especially.
why when we talk with military and the recruits go in, do they
'Cause
not come out and they can speak freely of however they feel? Let your feelings out.
Try to convince them of that. Try to convince them of that.
I've been trying. I've
Larry,
been working on it.
Why don't we take our first break here, kids, and we'll be back after these messages to continue this conversation of analysis of, where's the lack of education? Where's the answers? Take it away, Larry. We'll be back after these messages.
But is there a balance in between?
Welcome back, everybody. Here we have a lively conversation going on here. About the transition
Right.
from being a mercenary to be a soldier, to be taking orders, not to question, just to go and follow orders. And I think that there was this a meeting a while ago that Jenny and I were talking about a little bit, but because we had 3 triplets from Marshfield High School on graduation this year, all joined the Marines, and they had a day for them at Gillette Stadium of all the new recruits, all the high school seniors that were doing it. But see, my feeling was that they all are future veterans of America. We ought to start that day one to prepare them. That there are paths that you can still do your job, but you can still prepare for what's afterwards. And I think the service does not do a real good job of transitioning and getting them back to feeling
Well.
quote well.
Well, I think what happens is, remember, the military is, I'm taking civilians who think individually, and we have them to think as one. So you're transitioning them from civilian life into military life, and that's what they're trained for. You're not thinking as an individual anymore. We're a group. We're going in as a unit, and that's the hardest thing. That's what boot camp is for. It's to weed out those who can't make
do it.
that. And then when you're in there, that process then goes to individual, whether they're MOS, whatever they're going to do in the military. Maybe after a period of time is when the education can begin. Surely it has to be when they're 6 months leaving the military. There has to be some intense training as well. You're leaving the military, going back into civilian life. I mean, they just gave me and said, tomorrow you're going home. Here's your papers. Here's your plane ticket, your bus ticket, and that was it. That was it. As long as all the forms are signed, they didn't care. So the emphasis has to be in that last 6 months, 8 months, whatever their deployment, coming back from deployment, on you're going back into civilian life. And there's where I think is where to catch them.
So
Get them acclimated again.
right. So your point is very well taken, and I understand, not because I was military, but I understand what you're explaining to me as someone going in, and how you want that soldier, sailor, airman, whoever it is, to act, react, feel But mental health starts at such a young age. So if we're not educating kids as young as like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, middle school, to understand just what mental health is really what we need to do. And it's so I think the people that have the mentality, when you said you go to boot camp and they weed people out, well, if we educated the recruits on mental health, maybe it would weed out a few more that aren't ready for it.
Right.
But the ones that are going to understand it and work through it will continue on and still be that strong,
Right.
that strong soldier, that strong.
And the vast majority
So-
of them are. And
Right.
what are we talking? 10%, 20% that can't take the stress. Maybe I don't know what the numbers are, but it's there's a lot of healthy vets out there.
Absolutely.
A lot of healthy vets.
Absolutely.
And the big thing is, and I've said this before, in the last 15 years, and I agree with you, the veteran community is now talking about, and the older veterans, my generation of veterans, are talking about mental health. And I think
Right.
that's transitioning down to the next generation who is saying, hey, if these guys can talk about it, we can talk about it. And hopefully that Desert Storm guys can talk about it. Maybe these younger veterans are able to say, hey, these guys are talking about mental health. And I've seen that in the last 15 years. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. And that's big, I think.
Huge.
Yes, and what it really took away from the first time I went overseas to work with the Navy, and unfortunately I only know the last name, was Kelsey. There was a Navy personnel that really struggled with suicide ideation, wanted to take his life. He was so afraid to tell anybody because of the repercussions, because of how you were red flagged, because how you were
Yep.
treated on the base, because you had your weapons taken away, all of that. And it was from what I understand from all the people that I worked with in the Navy, that it was the first story that was publicized. They actually interviewed him afterwards and all the people that helped him and how he turned his life around because he was able to tell somebody and speak about it. And he stayed in the service, and he was still a strong, Navy guy and a proponent not only for mental health and helping others, but still able to fight if he had to, still able to have that.
He was able to compartmentalize.
Yes,
And leave it in the right box. And
Yeah,
take
and
out that box when it was necessary.
Right, and I think that's the message we need to send, because if I'm out with you in combat, and I'm relying on you to save my ass, and you're relying on me to save yours, if I'm mentally not well, I'm not good for you.
No.
And you're not good for me if you're not mentally well. But if you get to talk about it and discuss it and get better mentally, I want you next to me because you're a good soldier. You're a good sailor. You want people to be mentally well next to you. It's so important. So I don't think that punishment is the way to go with people that are struggling when they've offered their life up to serve our country.
Exactly.
Get them better, because they still want to be that combat person. They still want to be your buddy that is going to fight next to you. So your point is well taken, and I understand we don't want to soften people, but we want them to be able to express their struggles, because they'll be better in the trenches if they're talking about their mental health.
Well,
that was my point.
Yep. And it'd be interesting. Too bad we don't have our buddy Chuck on. From the standpoint, it'd be nice to see the change that he has seen over his years
With
of
the
yelling
VA.
over the radio. Don't do it. Yelling on the radio every night when we would he'd have the final word.
He yells, and we can't yell.
No, and Chuck's a big tanker guy,
You know Chuck.
I know Chuck
you
well.
know Chuck.
Yeah.
You know Chuck.
Too big to be in a tank.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying when I looked at him. Tank?
I
We
can't-
didn't want you on a submarine. We didn't want you in a tank.
I can't imagine. Neither one of them
No, that's what I said. It's too
up
big.
my alley. But it was. He gave me a lot of strength as far as not being afraid to ask, do you feel okay? And Jenny has taught us, no, you're not going to push somebody over the edge by asking. That they want to talk about it.
Right.
They want it. All they want is somebody to give them a hug.
Open the door.
Yeah.
It's about opening that door.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Listen.
That's what we're all about.
Gotta listen.
It's an awkward conversation to have, and with certain professions, whether it's military, whether it's police, I understand it's a bravado style of life where you don't want to say it, you don't want to talk about it, but if someone brings it up to you, they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we say that all the time. You
Yep.
open that door, and that person will just
Yeah.
naturally just tell you everything that they're struggling with, and by letting it out, there's step one to releasing a lot of it.
Yep.
Some of them, I shouldn't even say some of them, most people don't even need more than that. They just need someone to listen to them about what they're struggling, and then some do need further care.
Sure.
But just by letting it out, it makes them like the relief of releasing those thoughts makes them a stronger and better person in the trench, no matter what their job, no matter what your profession is, whether it's military, non-military. It makes that person stronger.
Do you train on that aspect of what you were just talking about, Paul?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean,
do.
and that's what I do. And you know, when I was first doing trainings, it was with the National Guard, and we were doing what's called an assist training. It's a two-day training. It's called Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training, how to do interventions. So we were training military to be SIOs, Suicide Intervention Officers. And what came out of those trainings of having anywhere from 30 to 60, people that, some, because it was National Guard, some had seen, combat, some haven't. It was a different mix of people. But what we got out of it was that after that, they all understood where we were coming from and how mental health and opening up that conversation, opening up that door,
Sure.
made them better people just in 2 days.
Yep.
They would come up to us afterwards and say, we've had to sit in so many 4-hour trainings, 2-hour trainings of suicide prevention, this and that. We couldn't stand it. They would come up to us after it. If you read the reviews, and we have them all on file, they were like, this is the greatest training we've ever done, even though it was 2
Learned
days
so
long,
much,
and we were
right.
told to do it.
Yeah.
They loved it, and they were so accepted, of what we were trying to explain to them and how we wanted them as suicide intervention officers
Yeah.
to work with their fellow, soldiers and sailors. It was for me. So that goes back when I was first doing this. For me, it was so enlightening to
Sure.
see these guys go, wow,
Yeah.
so it's okay if we talk about this?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And this is what I need to do as a higher up to the people underneath me, to let them talk about it. It really was. It changed the perspective for a lot of these guys and go, you're right. We got to be able to talk about it. We don't need to red flag somebody. We don't need to put a yellow ribbon on their arm
No,
while
we
they're
need to
walking
help
around.
them. We need don't give them
Right.
what didn't we go over the types of discharges?
Oh, yeah.
And if
Less than
somebody,
honorable,
yeah,
and,
and no, they kick them out of the. They used to.
Yeah, right.
Now I think there's a lot more calmness.
Well, each case is going to be evaluated on its basis, but it's not just automatic, go. But, I was going to ask you, so do you feel that because that veteran or the soldier opened up to a stranger, he feels if I can open up to a stranger, now I can open up to maybe my own family or maybe someone else? Do you find that at all?
So what we found also from these trainings was that because I was not military and not part of the ranks in the system, and we were just educators, and same with the police departments, and we did them all over the South Shore. Almost every police department in the South Shore was part of our trainings. Because we gave them our personal information and we weren't part of the protocol of who they had to report to. They reached out to us one-on-one. They said, and it wasn't them all the time. It was like, my wife struggles with this.
Yeah.
My son struggles with this, but I don't want to talk about it because it's my family. And so what it really did was open up their eyes and, their ears to listening to their families, like you're asking, everybody around them, and allowed them to speak freely to people in their life that it mattered to.
Finally. But at this point, Lau, why don't we take our second break here? We'll come back to finish up with tonight's show to start the third quarter. We'll be talking about a great veteran get-together that was held just last week. So why don't you take it away, Larry? We'll be back after these messages.
The Osborne family from Noah.
No, it's not. He's not. Dave Osborne is the VSNO. He is not the benefactor.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that.
Oh,
I just
okay.
meant-
Oh, Dave
I knew
Osborne's
the
a
Osborne
great guy.
family, yeah.
Oh, he's been a friend of mine for 20 years. He's a great guy, and he started this several years ago on the estate of this person in Norwell, and you drove in through the gate, and then you went to a parking lot, and then they came to get you with golf carts and bring you to the event. It was like, wow, unbelievable. But they had, this is the first year they had it at Alba. In the past, they've had it at his location, and with lobster salad, lobsters for everybody, chowder, the whole everything. And it was something that Dave's been working on for many years. And this was a great one. Now there was, I guess, 230 vets that were there. It's amazing.
That's a
Excellent.
lot.
It's amazing how
Were
many
they all
veterans.
from Norwell?
Just
The
about.
200? Wow.
Just about. Seniors. Dave
Yeah.
just has a real penchant for hanging out with these guys and girls and doing this event for them. So it's really it's a great event
Sounds like it.
that I missed out this year, but next year hopefully it'll be back on. Jenny,
Hi.
hi.
He doesn't
I mean,
shut up.
well, we get callers saying that Jenny doesn't talk enough, so we gotta like, come here,
Throw me
Jenny,
in
come
every
here,
time.
Jenny. So this is the end of Suicide Awareness Month.
It is, yeah.
And do you have any other events planned over the next several days or so?
We do. Saturday down in Buzzards Bay, right near the railroad bridge, is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Out of the Darkness Walk. It starts at 9 o'clock, and we walk basically up the canal and back.
The whole
And-
canal, not the whole canal.
Not the whole canal.
No.
It's about
2.5 miles.
It's 2.5
Okay,
miles.
good enough. Yeah.
But the whole purpose of having these community walks is all the money that's raised by those walks stays in that community. So the walk that's happening at Buzzards Bay is called the South Shore Cape Cod Walk. So any money raised from this walk will go to both our area, Plymouth County, the South Shore, and then down the Cape. That is Saturday. On Sunday, we also have another walk at Borderland Park in Easton.
Yeah.
Again, starts at 9 o'clock. Same exact thing.
And who should attend these? Who's your audience? Who do you want there?
We want anyone and everyone, but 99% of the people are there because they've been affected by suicide.
Have they? Okay, so
There's many
so
families.
it is the survivors and the survivors' families that are reaching out and getting strength amongst each other.
Exactly. Actually, I found out last night, I don't even think I told you, the family that I met last June that lost their young son to suicide.
Yeah,
Their
the
mom,
one that talked about it. So that they talk really loud about it.
They did. The family really
Yeah.
did. The family's
Yeah.
been so strong. She's been a great advocate. She reached out to me yesterday. They asked her to be part of the bead ceremony. There's different color beads for each loss that you have, and they actually asked her to be part of it because of the loss of her son. So she was very, it's emotional. It's a very,
Sure.
very emotional day. But that will close out our whole month. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's been busy. And Paul's been busy the last 2 days at Massasoit College doing some work, so.
And then what, Jen? I mean, now the month is coming up.
Cleveland. She's going to Cleveland. She's going to Cleveland. I think that's it.
They don't let me go. He went to Cleveland with
We
me.
went together.
We went together.
So-
Yeah, but he
So-
wasn't a regular on our show.
Yeah, right.
He didn't desert us.
That's right. Cleveland.
So just because this month is coming to an end, our
Doesn't.
work actually picks up this time of year.
Does it?
Right.
It does.
The
because-
holidays coming up?
Well, it's not just the holidays. It's the time of year where schools, universities want more trainings because they're back in session. You know, a lot of people are on vacation over the summer, so our kind of work during the summer is a little quieter than it is the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Holidays always affect people that might be lonely or struggling.
People coming
we-
back out of the woodwork now after the pandemic. Are they more open to come out and take advantage of your classes now?
Yeah.
I think so. When the pandemic first started, we weren't allowed to do in-person classes. We actually had to do them virtual. And a lot of the different programs that we do changed their modules so that we could deliver them virtual. Paul and I had done a couple for the city of Providence. And we found that people were turning off their cameras. And we didn't know if they were okay. You know, you're in a class for 7.5 hours, whether if it's in person or virtual. I don't know if they're okay if they shut off their camera. So neither one of us felt comfortable. We'd rather have that
Sure.
that personal interaction. So as soon as we were able to go back in person, that's the only training we'll do now. And we are setting up some trainings, as he said, even though September's over. This is when we'll be scheduling because it's our new fiscal year too. So we have a few classes coming up. No dates yet, so I can't announce them.
Who
but
should be contacting you to set up their own dates to have you come in? Who's your primary target? Policemen, first responders?
well, it's anybody and everybody. In it could be a small organization. We've had several towns reach out to us to train their employees. We've also had a lot of the Council on Aging reach out to us. We did do a big training back in February, I think it was, at Bridgewater State College, but it was a collaboration with the Bridgewater College, the police, all the Bridgewater police departments, and BIDH Plymouth.
Okay.
So it was a big collaboration with all of us, and that was the first of 3 that we're supposed to put on. But even, if there's a private company and they want training, they can reach out to us.
How would they reach out to you?
Reach out to me, not
okay.
him.
Not him. He's too busy talking to answer the phone. I get it. And how would they reach
She does
you?
all the hard work for
How
me.
would they reach you, Jen?
They can call me at 508-254-9320.
And how far in advance are you? Would if somebody called you this week, would they have you come in sometime in October? Would it be? Are you stretched out November? Is it a series of sessions that you might do, or?
It's quite possible. It really depends upon who's asking. If it's a public event, we pretty much like 6 to 8 weeks to plan for it because we want to advertise it. We want to fill a class. We'd rather have a class of 30 people than 5 people.
Sure.
But if it's a smaller group that just wants to train, like we did a youth ambassador group out of Cohasset not too long ago, and it was a smaller group, we'll definitely do that. We're actually, Paul was asked, we're speaking Sunday, or he is speaking Sunday morning at First Parish Church in Situate. They're inviting us in to give a 2-minute talk, Mr. Gabriel. He's only allowed to talk to 2 minutes, but then we'll stay after and talk to people, and hopefully more will come out of that, and we can get back into the communities too. So
Very good. Very good.
Do you find
Very
this
good.
time of year is also because it's getting dark early, and do you find that to be a trigger for some folks too, or not?
Statistically, it's not. But yeah, it very well could be because it's darker and you start, people go in earlier. It's longer isolation if they're alone, especially
Right.
with the elderly. A lot of people, think around the holidays, that's when our statistics are high.
Yeah.
But it's actually after the holidays. And I think I've mentioned that
Yeah.
before, Greg.
Yeah.
And people were surprised, but it's after all the holidays
And,
are over.
and it all sets in. All of a
Yep.
sudden, it's February and it's
Well,
cold.
families are
and
go-
it's
yeah,
dark.
the family
they're
stuff
gone.
is over, they're
Yep.
gone, and
Yeah.
now they're alone.
Yep.
Well, why don't we take a final break here for the for the evening? We'll come back and finish up with Paul and Jenny and talk about what's coming up for next week. Take it away, La. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Craig Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here talking with Jenny. We're getting her to open up a little bit, and a new friend of ours, Paul Gabriel, the creator of the Plymouth County Suicide Prevention Coalition.
You got it.
Yikes! Yikes!
He's
Just
on-
say
he's on point
PCSPC.
tonight.
Just remember that, PCSPC.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, sure, remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, Jenny, 988
988.
I got 988.
I got that.
We got
Yeah,
that.
We got
we got that.
988 now.
We have that.
We would
Yeah.
have to write down the
Thank
number
God,
and
because I
hand
couldn't
it
remember
to
the number. Yeah, I'd have to.
It's
went
only
nine-
5 years that we had the 1-800 number, and I just would totally blank out. And I'm a pretty good guy with numbers, but
No.
went right over the top. Right over the
988.
top.
Much easier.
Much easier. So, Paul, you've come a long ways already now in your 10 years. What do you look forward to now? That what's your next set of challenges?
Well, first of all, within our own, community here of Plymouth County, my challenges are to continue to advocate for earlier education with mental health and awareness. We're trying to write programs that are age appropriate for elementary schools, for middle schools, so that kids understand what they might be struggling with, or maybe it's not even them, but they go home to a family that maybe their parent has a substance use disorder, or a brother that struggles with a mental health disorder, or another family member. And there's a lot of grandparents raising grandkids
Sure.
because of the loss of our opioid, epidemic that has happened over the last 20 years. So my goal is really to look forward to is the education part of that within our community. Outside of that, Jenny and I have had so much interest in people asking us to do things outside of Plymouth County. So anybody that's listening outside of our county, Jenny and I have launched our own business, Mental Health Training and Awareness Consultants, that just kicked off about a year ago. We're slowly going to launch our business this fall into full-blown working with veterans outside of our area, because we see that we're very active in Plymouth County, but other counties are not.
Right.
So in order for us, we cannot use that money that we have for the coalition. So we have started our own business with our own funding, and we are reaching out to anybody that's in an earshot of us outside of Plymouth County. We will travel. We are already in 4 states in New England, so we are here to work with private companies, with veterans, with active military, whatever is needed. So as soon as we get some swag going and some logo stuff, we'll get it out there to all of you. And please reach out to us, even if you're outside of Plymouth County.
And what numbers, Jenny? You already gave your number before, but Wolfie would be yelling at me if we didn't talk about the fabric. We gotta
The fabric, I
the
know.
fabric. We gotta. How do they get in touch with you, Jen?
So again, my phone number is 508-254-9320. And we also have a Facebook page, which is under Plymouth County Suicide Prevention Coalition. And our website is www.plymouthcountyspc for Suicide Prevention Coalition.org or
Very nice.
.com,
Well-
whichever one you want to do.
Oh,
They both link.
they both link
Oh,
anyway.
that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
very nice.
There you
Very,
go.
very nice. Very
I
nice.
know how to do things.
Yeah, I know you do, Jen. I'm I've been watching you for these many years. Although, a little trip to Cleveland. It doesn't come between us.
Hey, wait a minute.
I mean-
I want to be in Rutland, Vermont
Wait a
in a
minute.
couple of
We
weeks,
went-
so
we went to
you can make fun of
Milwaukee,
me of that.
too.
So
Yeah, I know everybody's. You know, I'm the only one that's that's
Doesn't
the
travel.
regular here.
Yeah.
Nobody invites me to go anywhere, so I'm just here every week. You know.
Well, I hope I'm invited back. I've enjoyed your time, and it was nice chatting with all of you. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Well, Paul, would love to have you back for
What are you
for,
doing
for
next
sure.
July?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't go to our summer festival, did you? In Quincy
He was in Cleveland with me.
last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yes.
remember she was away.
I
You
was-
were in Cleveland last year.
Yes, I was. This year I was here. Last year was when I was in
I mean
Cleveland.
this year.
This year.
Yeah, but I
Yes,
mean this
this
year.
year.
Yeah, but Paul's never been to our event.
No,
No, I was working my other job.
Uh-oh.
the
Yes.
summer is his busy time.
I'm in the restaurant business on the Cape, so I'm busy down there.
Oh, God bless you.
During July. So.
My family used to own Pufferbellies.
Oh, nice! I loved Puffervillas.
Oh.
I
There's some-
partied there quite a bit.
I thought I recognized
That's where it's from,
I actually
Justin.
think
I
that's.
threw 'em
I
out one
actually
night.
think that's where I got PC'd for falling asleep on the beach that day.
you. I wouldn't be surprised. We had, there's quite a number of stories came out of there.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
So how was your summer? Was it?
It was great. Always
Yeah.
busy. Always profitable. It was the Cape's back up and running after the pandemic, and we
And in your business as a bartender,
yes.
do you ever come across some people that you question? Are you okay?
Not only question, I also run into more people just out of conversation because that's the type of place it is because of everybody coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
Really. But especially all over New England, New York, New Jersey, that you have conversations and you talk with people as a bartender, and there's so many people that say to me, well, you work here full time, and I say, no, I work a couple nights a week. What else do you do? I tell them what I do. I've lost someone to suicide. I've struggled with suicide. I had some beautiful lady tell me 3 weeks ago, she said, I came in here a year ago with my mother. We come in every Monday because you talked about what you did for work. And she goes, you saved my life. You kept me from taking my life. So there's so many connections that I've had over the years of bartending, either people that have reached out to me.
Mhm.
I've helped them. One of my dearest friends for years now lost their son to suicide, and that was our connection years ago when I met them. It's bartending is psychology,
Sure.
and it's been an incredible journey being a bartender and being able to help people and people being able to help me as well.
Look at Cheers.
Yeah.
I mean, was that not real life?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about relationships.
And we had a couple of restaurants, and we had in Newton, we had a restaurant, Newton Corner, and we had 15 seats at the bar or whatever. But it was just like Cheers. And
Yep.
it was the same guys and girls every night they came back in, and
Yep.
and it was very cathartic.
It is.
From my standpoint, because I felt better about myself after listening to them. Geez.
Wow, I thought I had problems. Look at you.
Especially when you're on the other side of the bar.
Yeah, exactly. But this has been a real experience sharing your story with us, Paul. We really do appreciate it. And keep up the great work. Let us know what we can do to help you
Hey,
from
and
this
vice
standpoint.
versa. Oh, God, we're here to help you. So anything we can do, bring me into whatever events you have going on. We have a chowder thing that Jenny was just telling me about. We've got some chowder contest or going on.
Chowder Fest.
Chowder
for the
Fest.
Fishing for a Mission 22. The guys from the 22 Mohawks
Oh, okay.
are part of it.
Okay.
They do the same thing that you guys did in Quincy,
Yeah.
taking the veterans out fishing.
Yeah.
But they raised money, and they reached out to me to be a judge for a Chowder Fest. I don't like chowder.
But guess who does?
Guess who does?
Perfect.
So we're sending him.
Oh, perfect.
So
Perfect.
anything
So-
we can do for you, and
Is that,
vice
is that
versa.
Harold Skelton by any chance?
Yes, it is.
It is
Yep,
Harold.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
Harold
exactly.
has been on the show a couple of
Yes.
times, and I was in a golf tournament for Parkinson's disease, George Wright Golf Course a while ago, and Harold was there,
It was there.
and it was great talking to him, and I think they run several charters
They do a couple of times a
Yeah,
year.
a couple of
It's
times
not
they
just
go out. Not just
one
one
time,
day in
right.
Quincy. You
Yep.
know, in Quincy we have, I don't know how many boats we have. I think we have about 35 or 40 lobster boats in our
Yeah.
fleet.
But
25
that's one
years.
day. That's a huge event, though, to have that many one day and
Oh, yeah.
get these veterans out fishing, or even not even
And
just
then-
on the water.
And then feed them.
Yeah.
You,
Yes,
you know, they have a big lunch in their farm and entertainment and all kinds of raffles and things. You know, but you know, we think, Paul, that by getting them together, that the camaraderie will take over, and that's what we always talk about is the coffees. You know, and just
Coffee
getting them
socials,
together, and just letting them talk and not about anything, just being.
Doesn't matter.
Just being.
Even if everybody's bitching, it's a good bitch. You know, it's like, you know, complain. I like let it out.
Yes,
Let it out.
yes.
It's so helpful.
Well, and Mike Cunningham, as a UMass Boston history professor and a writer, and he talks about writing it.
Yep.
Write anything.
Right down.
Write a couple of words. Write a sentence. Write a paragraph. Doesn't have to be a book.
No.
But when he talks of the process of taking that weight off of his shoulder when he put it down on paper.
Put it on words, right? I mean, I think I mentioned last week, one of the things that we do when we go out to families is we bring them a journal. And we say, write your stuff down.
Interesting.
Whether you share it or not, that's up to you, but it does take pressure off them
Well, 'cause
and weight off them.
I'm working with the VA, and Dr. Sloan has written a couple of books on the process of writing, and she's going to come in with Mike Cunningham and John Levere, so I'll make sure that that we prepare everybody to start to write a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Larry, it looks like the clock on the wall is unfortunately saying we must bid adieu, but 988. We got that number, right, Jen?
We know it.
At
I
the
don't
prompt,
know.
press 1.
Yep, for veterans, press 1.
And
Or call Jenny or call me.
Yep.
We'll do the same for you.
or call me. We have a network. Call Wolfie. Call anybody.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that Wolfie and I pride ourselves on. We don't do anything, but we know everybody that does. So you call us. We're gonna pass the buck.
The whole thing is you're not alone.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Yes, absolutely.
alone.
Absolutely. Larry, thank you very much for tonight, kid. Thanks for keeping us on track. And Justin, great to have you back, brother.
All right, thanks for you back.